Hello viewers and my dear students, I Dr. Megha Chaudhary welcome you all in my surgery class, and today we will learn and discuss about the disease anthrax. Anthrax is a disease that is most recently famous for being sent to a male as a biological weapon. Anthrax is an ancient disease, can be traced back to 700 BC in Egypt. So it is not a new disease. ये ancient time पे भी मिलती थी. Robert Koch in 1843 used anthrax to develop Koch postulates. Afterwards, Louis Pasteur made the first vaccine for anthrax. So that's how the preventive was prepared. This anthrax is zoonotic disease, an infectious disease caused by gram-positive bacteria or bacilli. Anthrax is a disease caused by Bacillus anthracis, a germ that lives in soil. And this germ proliferates and divides into the soil or any favorable conditions. Unique feature is that this bacteria are capsulated. Slimy layer is found around this bacilli. Causative bacteria, Bacillus anthracis, gram-positive bacilli हैं ये, and this bacteria produces spores, and this bacteria are capsulated. A slimy layer is found around it, that is antiphagocytotic. Means phagocytic cells like macrophages cannot phagocyte or engulf them. Now when any animal like sheep or cattle is infected through this bacteria, they shed the bacteria by nose, mouth, anus. Then this bacteria remain viable in the soil and further proliferate and form more spores. Now type of anthrax, first one is cutaneous anthrax, also known as Hides-Sorter disease. It is caused when people come in contact with infected dead bodies of animals or human beings. जिनको इन्फेक्शन हुआ है लाइक कैटल एंड शिप जो इन्फेक्टेड है जिनमें एंथ्रेक्स का बेसिलाई है, उन डेड बॉडीज़ को जब कोई उठा रहा है, पिक कर रहा है, तो दैट पीपल कम इन कॉन्टैक्ट. Second one is pulmonary anthrax, also known as wool portal disease, because जो लोग ऐसी इंडस्ट्रीज़ में काम कर रहे हैं जहाँ पे वूल प्रोडक्शन हो रहा है, स्वेटर बन रहा है, तो उन लोगों को कांटेक्ट में आने पर रेस्पिरेटरी प्रॉब्लम शुरू हो जाती है, पल्मोनरी एंथ्रेक्स हो जाता है. द इन्फेक्टेड बैक्टीरिया invades into the lung through inhalation, and after invading the lungs it proliferates and produces spores. Third one is gastrointestinal, which affects the digestive system, and that is caused by eating infected meat or contaminated meat. जब कोई पुराना हो गया मीट या चिकन वो कंज्यूम कर लिया तो गैस्ट्रोइंटेस्टाइनल एंथ्रेक्स हो जाएगा. It is very dangerous and has a high mortality rate compared to the other two. Now manner of entry. The clinical features depend on the manner of entry. अगर lungs में invade किया है बैक्टीरिया तो lungs में symptoms आएंगे. अगर skin के थ्रू हुआ है तो वहाँ पे symptoms produce होंगे. अगर GI infection हुआ है तो diarrhea, abdominal pain, GI के symptoms आएंगे. So type of infection depends on the manner of entry, and that's how the typical clinical manifestation is come out. Now we will discuss the clinical features according to the system involved. When skin is involved, it is called cutaneous anthrax. Incubation period is 1 to 7 days after the exposure, and a bumps called papules appear on the skin. Then they are transferred into a exture, a black necrotic lesion, also called as anthrax coal. They are named so because they look like a coal black. They may become black ulcers. This is the least dangerous type. Second is inhalation anthrax, that is the deadliest form of anthrax and takes 2 months, that is the incubation period is 2 months. Starting as a fever, shortness of breath, headache, abdominal pain along with chills, can accelerate to serious fever and swelled lymph nodes. So lymph nodes are also involved. There may be hemorrhagic pneumonia or hemorrhagic meningitis along with bloody diarrhea sometimes, and death occur due to the shock because oxygen level decreases. Third one is gastrointestinal anthrax. This is rare in United States. An infection occurs in upper GI, result in ulcer formation. In intestine, when infection occurs, it produces vomiting and nausea, discomfort, abdominal pain, and rapid development, quick development hota hai. Mortality rate is near 100%, that is very high. Now let's begin the pathogenesis, how this anthrax bacilli invades into the host and proliferates and forms spores, generates spores. I am making here the diagram of bacteria anthrax bacilli, which is capsulated, has a capsule around, that is slimy layer. This capsule is formed of polypeptides, proteins. First is peptidoglycan and second is glycoprotein. Both are proteins. So these proteins make this capsule even more stronger. Now what is the benefit of this capsule? As we all know, whenever any antigen attacks any host, like bacteria, virus, जब भी अटैक करते हैं, इन्फेक्शन होता है, तो हमारा इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स क्या करता है? Our immune response activate the phagocytic cells like macrophages, neutrophils. They will gather at that location and will try to destroy the antigen, will try to engulf that bacteria and virus. But in case of anthrax bacilli, because they have a capsule, that is strong capsule around, so macrophages will not be able to engulf. Second specialty is that this bacteria releases toxins called exotoxin. First is edema factor, that exotoxin, first is edema factor, which increases the release of intracellular cyclic AMP, that causes more, or that produce more liquid is produced, and that will cause tissue edema or inflammation. Second is lethal toxins, that causes tissue necrosis. Third is protective antigens, that protect the bacilli getting engulfed by the macrophages. So that's how this bacteria will elude immune system of host and then will start destruction. Now investigation, the tests used to diagnose anthrax include blood test, skin test, stool test, spinal tap, a procedure that tests a small amount of the fluid that surrounds the brain and spinal cord, chest x-rays to exclude respiratory anthrax, CT scan, endoscopy, a test that uses a small tube with an attached camera to examine the esophagus or intestine to exclude the gastrointestinal anthrax. Specimen would be collected like pus अगर cutaneous anthrax है, blood अगर septicemia है, अगर hemorrhagic meningitis हो रहा है तो CSF fluid can be collected, gastric aspirate or fecal in case of intestinal anthrax. So these are the specimens collected. Here I have shared the picture of direct microscopy where gram staining, gram positive bacilli in chains appeared as a bamboo stick. So bamboo stick appearance है in gram positive bacilli की after staining. In treatment, ciprofloxacin or doxycycline is the drug of choice. Clindamycin can be added. Treatment required for about 2 months. So it is a long time taking process.